When astronomers first catalogued 3IE Atlas in July 2025, the world barely noticed. After all, it was just another interstellar traveler, another piece of cosmic debris wandering through the vast emptiness between stars. It was only the third object of its kind ever seen, but by all appearances, it seemed to be nothing more than a silent visitor passing through the solar system on a one-way journey. Then the James Webb Space Telescope, arguably the most powerful eye humanity has ever turned toward the cosmos, locked onto the object. What it discovered changed everything. This was not simply an icy rock being warmed by the sun deep within 3IE Atlas. Something was glowing. Not randomly, not chaotically, but rhythmically, like a pulse, like a heartbeat. As the days passed, what had started as a scientific curiosity evolved into something far more disturbing. The object's brightness climbed far beyond predictions, and it began emitting thermal energy from within rather than from its sunlit surface. Then came the radio signals, repeating with astonishing precision. Finally, the object changed course. It veered intentionally, behaving not like a passive rock, but like something acting with purpose, perhaps even with awareness. Something appeared to be inside 3IE Atlas, and the James Webb Space Telescope may have just confirmed that it was alive. At first, it was merely a statistical outlier, a bright point among countless others in the telescope's infrared observations. But as scientists reviewed data from the NIR SPEC instrument, one anomaly refused to disappear. 3IE Atlas did not behave like any known object in space. Typical interstellar visitors brighten and fade unpredictably as they rotate, eject material, or reflect sunlight from uneven icy surfaces. 3IE Atlas did none of these things. Instead, its brightness remained eerily constant. Even more unsettling, it emitted a concentrated glow from its core, like a miniature furnace pulsing at exact intervals. Every 4 hours, the internal heat intensified and faded in a perfectly timed cycle, almost like a biological rhythm. The pattern was far too precise to be explained by geology. It did not match the object's rotation, the effects of the solar wind, or any known natural process. The energy originated deep within the object and remained completely unaffected by changing sunlight or its distance from the sun. Officially, scientists referred to it as a thermal anomaly. Unofficially, however, some began whispering another word: heartbeat. The pulse was slow, deliberate, and mechanical, resonating less like the radiation of a star and more like an engine breathing in deep space. Something inside the object was producing energy independently of all external forces, raising one terrifying question: what kind of object powers itself in the darkness? As the thermal evidence became impossible to ignore, radio astronomers joined the investigation. Observatories around the world, from South Africa to California, turned their receivers toward 3IE Atlas. For several days, nothing unusual appeared. Then came the breakthrough. The Allen telescope array detected a faint, narrowband radio signal repeating every 4 hours, perfectly synchronized with the thermal pulses observed by the James Webb Space Telescope. At first, scientists remained skeptical. Could it simply be noise, a reflected signal, or local interference? But as hours turned into days and days into weeks, the signal never disappeared. It remained steady, precise, and remarkably persistent. Even more intriguing, the pulse showed tiny variations that matched fluctuations in the solar wind. Multiple observatories confirmed the same pattern, eliminating the possibility of equipment failure or human-made interference. The repetition was mathematically perfect. Fourier analysis revealed a stable carrier wave unlike anything naturally produced in space. It was as though something aboard 3IE Atlas was not merely active, but attempting to broadcast. Researchers compared the signal with known pulsars, neutron stars, and the cosmic microwave background, but every test came back negative. No natural explanation remained. As a final experiment, scientists transmitted a simple reply consisting of prime numbers, elements of a periodic table, and fundamental mathematical constants. 72 hours later, a response arrived. It was faint, distorted, but unmistakably present, and it arrived precisely on schedule, accurate to the second. Something had heard humanity's message, and something had answered. Then, on August 18th, everything changed once again. The James Webb Space Telescope recorded a sudden flare from 3IE Atlas, an explosive burst of energy that increased the object's brightness by more than 40% in less than an hour. No known comet behaves that way, not even during violent eruptions of vapor or dust. But what followed was even more astonishing. A recalculation of the object's trajectory revealed a subtle yet undeniable course correction. 3IE Atlas was no longer simply drifting through space. Instead, it appeared to be steering. The new trajectory brought it closer to the ecliptic plane of the solar system, aligning it more precisely with the inner planets. Orbital modelers at the European Space Agency, led by Marco Michelli, repeatedly reran their simulations, attempting to explain the maneuver through outgassing or other known physical processes. The mathematics simply did not work. The amount of thrust required for such a shift far exceeded anything natural jets could produce. Even more striking, the sudden flare and the course correction occurred simultaneously, as though one had triggered the other. No known comet, asteroid, or interstellar object has ever deliberately altered its own trajectory in this manner. Not like this. Not with apparent purpose. If something aboard 3IE Atlas was responding to humanity, our signals, our instruments, our very presence, then this was no longer just another astronomical observation. It had become something far more extraordinary.